Hey you. Yeah, you right there watching this. I'm Joe Kirby from Off The Kirb Ministries. 2.5 million of you awesome folks follow me on YouTube, and I'm so thankful for every one of you. But today's not like my usual videos. I'm not here to preach at you or throw Bible verses your way just yet. I'm here to talk about something that broke me. You ever lost someone you love? Like, really lost them? Drop a 1 in the comments if you have. I need to know I'm not alone in this. About a month ago, my world flipped upside down. My little girl, Anna, she was tiny, perfect, everything to me, and then she was gone. Just like that. Have you ever had a moment where life just stops making sense? Right 22 if you felt that punch in the gut. Picture this. I'm in the hospital, holding her tiny hand, watching her slip away. 2 days straight, I cried until I couldn't anymore. My wife Emma, she was a mess too. We'd look at each other, not even knowing what to say. And the worst part? God didn't show up. No voice, no peace, nothing. Silence. Ever felt like God's just checked out when you needed him most? Drop a 3 if that's hit you before. I stood by that hospital window, staring at nothing, thinking, God, where are you? Don't you care? It's raw, right? I'm not proud of that moment, but it's real. Stick with me. This isn't just my story. It's for you too. What's the hardest thing you've faced? Tell me later in the comments, okay? I mean, I've spent years telling you guys God's got your back. He's good. He's real. He's there. But those 2 days, I couldn't feel him. It was like he'd left the building. Ever had that? Like you're screaming into a void. Write 44 if you've been there. I'm not here to fake it or act like I've got it all together. I didn't. I was a wreck, asking, God, why'd you let this happen? You ever asked that question? Drop a 5 if you have. I'm betting a lot of you have too. Let's figure this out together, because something crazy happened next. You ready? So here I am, broken, lost, thinking maybe I've been wrong all along. Maybe I'm not even a Christian. Maybe those atheists I've debated, they've got a point. No God, no nothing. Ever had a thought that scared you like that? Write 66 if you've doubted everything you believe. I'm embarrassed to admit this on camera, but it's true. I was at my lowest, 3 a.m., wide awake, and I prayed. Well, more like begged. God, if you're real, give me something. Not a sign. I know that's not right to ask, but just encouragement. Something to hold on to. You ever prayed that desperate? Drop a 7 if you have. And guess what? He didn't just give me one thing. He gave me 3. 3 real, tangible encouragements that pulled me out of that hole. You believe God can do that. Write 88 if you think he's still in the game. I'm not making this up. I promise you, this is real. We're gonna walk through these together because I think someone out there, you, maybe, needs to hear this. Ever felt like God's forgotten you? Drop a 9 and let's see. Hang tight. Here comes the first one. Okay, let's dive in. While me and Emma were stuck in that hospital, our other 2 kids, Samuel, my oldest, and his little sister, were with my mom and dad. Samuel's a special kid, named after that Bible guy, you know, the one who heard God calling him in the night. Keep that in your head. A few days after Anna left us, Samuel comes up to me and Emma, eyes big, and says, Mommy, something weird happened. Ever had a kid say something that gave you chills? Write 10 if you have. He goes, I was in Papa's garden, all alone, planting a seed he gave me, and I heard a voice. It was loud but soft, like a whisper shouting, Sam, Sam. I'm like, what? He says, I thought it was you, Mommy, so I looked around, no one there. Then it happened again. Sam, Sam. You getting goosebumps yet? Drop an 11 if you are. I asked him, Buddy, where'd it come from? He points up, says, north, just above me. What do you think that was? Write 12 if you've got a guess. Then I said, what did it sound like, Sam? He goes, like Mommy's voice, but quieter, softer. Now, you can laugh at me, call me crazy, but I can't help wondering, was that Anna? My little girl calling her big brother from heaven? Drop a 13 if you think it might have been her, or 1313 if you're like, Joe, you're nuts, it's just his imagination. Either way, it hit us like a warm hug. Ever had a moment you couldn't explain, but it lifted you up? Write 14 if you have. For me, it was like God saying, Joe, I'm still here. Anna's safe with me. Even if it was just Sam's mind playing tricks. It gave us hope when we had none. You ever needed hope like that? Drop a 15 if you've been desperate for a lifeline. That's just the first encouragement. 2 more coming. Stick around, because this gets wilder. What's your take so far? Tell me in the comments. I'm reading every single one. Alright, you still with me? Good. We've got Samuel hearing this voice, and it's lighting a spark in me and Emma. But I'm not gonna lie, before that, I was drowning in doubt. I thought, maybe God's done with me. Ever felt like that? Like you're too far gone? Write 16 if you have. Let's move to the second encouragement. It's a game changer. You ready? Here we go. So, let's back up a bit. After Anna passed, I'm a mess. 2 days of crying, no sleep, just me and my thoughts at 3 a.m. And they're dark thoughts, y'all. I'm thinking, Joe, you've been faking it. You're not a Christian. Or maybe there's no God at all. Ever had your faith shake like that? Drop a 17 if you've been there. I've spent a decade debating atheists on this channel, telling you God's real. But that night, I wasn't so sure. You ever doubted everything you believed? Write 18 if you have. I'm sitting there, staring at the ceiling, replaying every sermon I've preached. God's good, God's close, God's got you. But where was he now? I couldn't feel him. Ever felt like God's ghosted you? Drop a 19 if you've been left hanging. I'm not proud of this, but I thought, maybe those atheists are right. Maybe it's all a lie. You ever had a moment that scared you to your core? Write 20 if you have. I was this close to giving up on God, on everything. But then I prayed. Not some fancy prayer. I begged. God, if you're out there, give me something. Not a sign. I know that's not cool, but encouragement. Something to hold on to. Ever prayed like your life depended on it? Drop a 21 if you have. I didn't expect much. Honestly, I thought he'd stay quiet. But he didn't. He showed up in ways I never saw coming. You believe God hears those desperate cries. Write 22 if you do. Let's see what happened next. Okay, so I'm doubting, begging, falling apart. And then Samuel's story hits me. That voice in the garden. It's like a tiny light in the dark. Ever had a little hope sneak in when you least expected it? Drop a 23 if you have. But I'm still wrestling. 2 days of silence had me thinking, God's done with me. My ministry's been rough lately. Views dropping, everything slipping away. You ever felt like your purpose is gone? Write 24 if you have. I'm asking myself, did I mess up? Is this punishment? I've preached to millions, but now I'm thinking, maybe God's finished with Joe Kirby. Ever wondered if God's given up on you? Drop a 25 if you felt that. I'm driving around with Emma, looking for a place to bury Anna, feeling like sand slipping through my hands. You know that feeling, when everything's falling apart. Write 26 if you do. But then, something shifts. You ready for encouragement number 2? So we're out there, me and Emma, driving north, hearts heavy. That morning, a lady from church hands me a letter. Says it came through her husband from another church. I'm like, cool, I'll read it later, and stuff it in my pocket. We pull up to this spot, trees all around, God's creation staring back at us. And there's that envelope. I rip it open, not knowing what's inside. Ever got a surprise that changed your day? Drop a 27 if you have. What I read next, it blew me away. It's from a mom whose son I baptized a couple months ago. She writes, Joe, when you preached that day, I was shaking. Your words about Jesus hit me so hard, I couldn't stop trembling. I gave my life to him right there. I'm sitting in the car, tears dripping on the paper. Ever had someone tell you you made a difference when you felt worthless? Write 28 if you have. I'd been thinking, God, I'm done. And here's this lady saying I helped her find Jesus. That letter, it was like God saying, Joe, I'm not done with you, man. Keep going. You ever felt that nudge, like you've still got a purpose? Drop a 29 if you have. I'm reading this, and it's hitting me. God's still using me, even when I'm falling apart. You believe he can do that? Write 30 if you do. This is encouragement number 2. Stay tuned for the third. So I've got Samuel's voice, this letter, 2 lifelines pulling me up. But before that letter, I was still a mess. I thought, maybe I sinned. Maybe that's why Anna's gone. Ever blamed yourself for something bad? Drop a 31 if you have. I'm scratching my head, thinking, God, what did I do wrong? My channel's been struggling, life's been loss after loss. You ever felt like you're cursed? Write 32 if you have. But that letter, it's shifting something in me. I'm driving, doubting, feeling like I've got nothing left. And then this lady's words, they're like a slap in the face, but the good kind. Joe, you brought me to Jesus. I'm like, wait, what? Ever had a moment where you realized you're not as useless as you thought? Drop a 33 if you have. It's making me think, maybe God's still got plans. You think he's got plans for you? Write 34 if you do. Let's hit the third encouragement. It's wild. Okay, third one's coming, but let's set the scene. It's the day we bury Anna. Our pastor stops by earlier, says, Joe, Emma, I ordered you a book. The moon is always round. But it got lost in the mail. Weird, huh? We're like, okay, no big deal. Fast forward. We're at the burial, tears everywhere, mixed feelings. Anna's in heaven, but we wanted her here. Ever felt that tug? Happy they're safe, sad they're gone? Drop a 35 if you have. We get home, and something's waiting for us. We walk in, eyes puffy, and there's a parcel on the floor. I'm like, what's this? I open it. It's that book, The Moon is Always Round. But here's the kicker. It's not from the pastor. It's from Becky, another lady from that same church where I preached. Ever had timing so perfect it freaked you out? Write 36 if you have. I'm holding this book, thinking, God, what are you doing? You believe in divine timing? Drop a 37 if you do. I start reading it to Emma. It's about a dad telling his kid, the moon looks like a banana, an apple slice, but it's always round. The twist? It means God's always good, even when we can't see it. I'm bawling, y'all. Ever had a truth hit you like that? Write 38 if you have. It's like God mailed me hope right on Anna's burial day. Drop a 39 if you think that's no coincidence. Or 3,939 if you're like, Joe, you're reaching. What's your take? All right, let's rewind to that first encouragement, Samuel's story. He's in the garden, planting a seed, all alone. Then bam, a voice, Sam, Sam. Loud but soft, like a whisper shouting. He's like, Mommy. Looks around, no one. Ever had a kid say something that stopped you cold? Drop a 40 if you have. He hears it again. Sam, Sam. I'm like, buddy, what's going on? You getting chills yet? I ask him, where'd it come from, Sam? He points up, says, north, just above me. Then I go, what did it sound like? He says, like Mommy's voice, but softer. I'm sitting there, heart pounding. Was that Anna? My little girl letting us know she's okay? Drop a 41 if you think it could be her, or 4,141 if you're like, Joe, calm down, it's just a kid thing. Ever had a moment that felt like heaven broke through? Write 42 if you have. Now, Samuel's named after that Bible kid who heard God call him. 1 Samuel 3. Coincidence? I don't know, but it's hitting me and Emma hard. We're like, God, are you in this? Ever felt like God's dropping hints? Drop a 43 if you have. Even if it was just Sam's imagination, it was like a warm blanket on a cold night. You ever needed comfort like that? Write 44 if you have. This is just the start. 2 more encouragements coming. So this voice, it's our first lifeline. I'm thinking, okay, God, maybe you're not gone. Ever had a little spark of hope when you were down? Drop a 45 if you have. It's not proof, right? But it's something. Samuel's all serious, telling us this, and we're holding on to it like gold. You think God uses kids to speak to us? Write 46 if you do. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Let's hit the next one. All right, Samuel's stories got me thinking. Maybe God's closer than I thought. But I'm still fragile, y'all. 2 days of silence messed me up. Ever felt like you're hanging by a thread? Drop a 47 if you have. That voice, it's a start, but I need more. And God delivers. You ready for encouragement number 2? It's about to get real. What's your guess? What's next? Tell me in the comments. So we're driving around, me and Emma, looking for Anna's resting place. That morning, This lady hands me a letter. I'm like, okay, whatever, and shove it in my pocket. We stop at this spot, trees everywhere, peaceful, and I pull it out. Ever had a random thing turn huge? Drop a 48 if you have. I open it, and it's from a mom I preached to months ago. You believe God plans stuff like this? Write 49 if you do. Here's what she said. She writes, Joe, your sermon at my son's baptism, I was shaking. Your words about Jesus hit me like a truck. I gave my life to him that day. I'm reading this, tears splashing down. Ever had someone say you changed their life when you felt useless? Drop a 50 if you have. I'd been thinking, God, I'm done. And here's proof he's still using me. You think God's got a way of shutting down your doubts? Write 51 if you do. This letter, it's like God's yelling, Joe, I'm not finished with you. Ever felt that push to keep going? Drop a 52 if you have. I'm sitting there, in that car, realizing maybe my ministry's not dead. Maybe I've still got work to do. You believe God's got work for you too? Write 53 if you do. This is encouragement too. Third one's next. What's hitting you so far? Tell me below, I'm all ears. So Samuel's voice, this letter, they're pulling me up. But I'm still raw. I've been thinking, did I mess up? Is this my fault? Ever blamed yourself for something awful? Drop a 54 if you have. I'm wrestling with guilt, doubt, all of it. But these encouragements, they're like God saying, hold on, Joe. You ever felt him pull you back from the edge? Write 55 if you have. Let's hit the third one. It's Anna's burial day. Our pastor says, I got you a book. The moon is always round, but it's lost in the mail. We're like, okay, whatever. We bury her. Tears, silence, heartbreak. Ever felt happy and sad at the same time? Drop a 56 if you have. We get home, and there's a parcel. I open it. It's that book. Not from the pastor, from Becky, same church as the letter. You believe in God's timing? Write 57 if you do. Here's what it said. So this letter, it's from a mom I preached to. She says, Joe, your words shook me. I found Jesus because of you. I'm crying in the car, y'all. Ever had a moment where God used you when you felt worthless? Drop a 58 if you have. I'd been thinking, I'm done. And here's this lady saying I changed her eternity. You think God's got a way of proving you wrong? Write 59 if you do. It's like God saying, Joe, you're still my guy. Keep preaching. Ever felt that call to keep going? Drop a 60 if you have. I'm sitting there, letter in hand, thinking, okay, maybe I'm not useless. You ever had a wake-up call like that? Write 61 if you have. This is encouragement too, showing me God's not done. You believe he's not done with you either? Drop a 62 if you do. Third one's coming. Stay with me. So I've got Samuel's voice, this letter, 2 punches of hope. But I'm still fragile. Before this, I'm thinking, God, why me? Ever asked that question? Drop a 63 if you have. I'm doubting my calling, my faith, everything. You ever felt like you're not enough? Write 64 if you have. But this letter, it's like a lifeline. God's saying, I'm still working through you. You think he works through broken people? Drop a 65 if you do. I'm driving with Emma, feeling like my life's crumbling. Then this letter hits me. Joe, you saved me. It's wild, right? Ever had someone thank you when you're at your lowest? Drop a 66 if you have. I'm starting to see, maybe God's not punishing me. Maybe he's still got a plan. You believe he's got a plan for you too? Write 67 if you do. Let's hit that third encouragement. It's a doozy. Okay, it's burial day. Pastor says, I got you a book, but it's lost. We bury Anna, tears everywhere. Ever felt that mix of peace and pain? Drop a 68 if you have. We get home, and there's this parcel. I open it. The moon is always round. Not from the pastor, from Becky, same church. You think God's playing chess with our lives? Write 69 if you do. I'm like, God, what's this? I read it to Emma. It's a dad telling his kid, the moon changes shape, but it's always round. Means God's always good, even when we can't see it. I'm crying, y'all. Ever had a truth smack you in the face? Drop a 70 if you have. It's hitting me. Anna's gone, but God's still good. You believe that? Write 71 if you do, or 7,171 if you're not sure yet. This book, it's perfect timing. It lands on our doorstep the day we bury her. I'm like, God, you're showing off now. Ever had timing so spot on it freaked you out? Drop a 72 if you have. I'm reading this, tears streaming, thinking, Anna's safe, and God's still here. It's like he mailed me hope when I couldn't find it myself. You ever felt like God's throwing you a lifeline? Write 73 if you have. This book, it's not just a story. It's a promise. You think God keeps his promises? Drop a 74 if you do. So this book, it's saying, God's good, even when life's a mess. I'm sitting there with Emma, both of us a wreck, but something's shifting. Ever had a moment where you felt God's goodness sneak in? Drop a 75 if you have. I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's not punishing me. Maybe he's carrying me. You believe God carries us through the worst stuff? Write 76 if you do. This is encouragement 3, Samuel's voice, the letter, now this book. You seeing a pattern here? Tell me in the comments, what's hitting you so far? All right, 3 encouragements. Boom, boom, boom. I'm starting to feel like God's saying, Joe, I've got you. Ever felt like he's pulling you back from the edge? Drop a 77 if you have. Before this, I'm doubting everything, my faith, my purpose. But now, I'm thinking, maybe I can keep going. You ever had a comeback moment like that? Write 78 if you have. These 3 things, they're not random. They're God. You believe he's in the details? Drop a 79 if you do. So I've got a voice from heaven, a letter of salvation, and a book of hope. I'm like, God, you're too much. Ever felt overwhelmed by his love? Write 80 if you have. I'm still hurting, don't get me wrong, but these are lifelines. You think God throws us lifelines when we're sinking? Drop an 81 if you do. This is where it all starts clicking. Let's talk about trust. You ready to dig into that? What's your take so far? Hit me in the comments. I'm all ears. Okay, let's zoom in on this book. The moon is always round. It's sitting there on my floor, right after Anna's burial. I'm like, God, you're messing with me now. Ever had something show up exactly when you needed it? Drop an 82 if you have. I read it to Emma. It's a dad telling his kid, the moon looks different, but it's always round. Means God's always good, even when we can't see it. You feel that truth? Write 83 if it's hitting you. I'm tearing up just holding it. The twist in the book, it's like a punch to the gut, but the good kind. God's always good. I'm thinking about Anna, about the silence, and it clicks. Ever had a moment where everything makes sense? Drop an 84 if you have. I'm crying, Emma's crying, because we're seeing it. God didn't leave us. You believe he sticks around even when it's dark? Write 85 if you do. This book, it's not just paper. It's God talking. You think he talks through little things? Drop an 86 if you do. So I'm reading this, and it's hitting me. Anna's gone, but God's still good. Ever wrestled with that idea? Drop an 87 if you have. I've been asking, why me? But this book's like, Joe, trust me. You ever had to trust when you didn't get it? Write 88 if you have. It's landing on our doorstep the day we bury her. Perfect timing. You believe God's got perfect timing? Drop an 89 if you do. I'm starting to see him again. I'm like, God, you're showing off. This isn't coincidence, it's him. Ever felt like he's flexing his love? Write 90 if you have. I'm holding this book, thinking, okay, maybe I can do this. You ever felt strength creep back in? Drop a 91 if you have. It's not fixing the pain, Anna's still gone, but it's hope. You think hope can carry you through? Write 92 if you do. This is encouragement 3, let's tie it all together. You with me? So I've got 3 lifelines, Samuel's voice, that letter, this book. I'm starting to feel God's hand. Ever had him pull you up when you're down? Drop a 93 if you have. Before this, I'm doubting everything, my faith, my calling. But now, I'm thinking, maybe he's still here. You believe he's always there? Write 94 if you do. These aren't random. They're God saying, Joe, trust me. You think trust is the key? Drop a 95 if you do. Let's talk about that next. All right, these three things, they're waking me up. I'd been thinking, God's gone, but now I'm seeing, He's been here all along. Ever had that flip in your head? Drop a 96 if you have. I'm still hurting, don't get me wrong, but these are signs. You think God sends signs when we need them? Write 97 if you do. It's pointing me to one verse, Psalm 62 verse 8. You ready to hear it? Let's dive in. Psalm 62 verse 8. Trust in Him at all times. That's it, y'all. 6 words that hit me like a truck. Ever had a verse change everything? Drop a 98 if you have. I'm reading this, and it's like God saying, Joe, this is your anchor. You think one line can hold you up? Write 99 if you do. These 3 encouragements, they're all screaming this at me. You seeing it too? Drop a 100 if you're feeling it. Let's break it down. Trust in Him at all times. Samuel's voice, trust Him. The letter, trust Him. The book, trust Him. Ever noticed God repeating Himself? Write 101 if you have. I'm like, okay, God, I get it. You ever had Him hammer a point home? Drop a 102 if you have. This verse, it's not just words. It's life. You believe words can save you? Write 103 if you do. I'm starting to see, trust is everything. You with me on this? So I'm clinging to this. Trust in Him at all times. It's like a flashlight in the dark. Ever had something light your way when you're lost? Drop a 104 if you have. I'd been doubting in the dark, forgetting what I knew in the light. You ever done that? Write 105 if you have. This verse, it's pulling me back. You think trust can pull you back? Drop a 106 if you do. Let's see how it plays out. Stay tuned. Okay, 3 encouragements, 1 verse, Psalm 62 verse 8. I'm starting to breathe again. Ever felt like you're coming back to life? Write 107 if you have. I'd been thinking, God's gone, but now I'm seeing He's right here. You believe He's closer than we think? Drop a 108 if you do. This is where it all ties together. Trust. You ready to dig deeper? Let's go. What's your story so far? Hit the comments. I'm reading. All right, here we are, Psalm 62 verse 8. Trust in Him at all times. Say it with me, y'all, out loud. Go ahead, I'll wait. How's it feel? Drop a 109 if it's hitting you. This verse, it's my anchor now. Ever found something to hold on to? Write 110 if you have. These 3 encouragements, Samuel's voice, the letter, the book, they're all pointing me here. You think God's got a way of tying things up? Drop a 111 if you do. Let's break it down. Trust in Him at all times. When I heard Samuel's story, I had to trust. When that letter came, I had to trust. When the book showed up, I had to trust. Ever seen trust get you through? Write 112 if you have. I'm looking at the Bible. Job lost everything. Trusted God. David's in caves. Trusting. Mary's at the cross. Trusting. You think trust matters? Drop a 113 if you do. This isn't just me. It's everywhere. You seeing it? So I'm like, God, you're onto something. Ever had a verse stick with you? Write 114 if you have. Trust in Him at all times. When you're broke, trust Him. When you're sick, trust Him. When you're mad, trust Him. You think it works like that? Drop a 115 if you do. I've been doubting in the dark, but this, it's light. You ever needed light in the dark? Write 116 if you have. I'd forgotten what I knew in the light. God's good, He's here. Ever let the dark mess with your head? Drop a 117 if you have. Psalm 62 verse 8. It's like, Joe, don't quit. You think one verse can keep you going? Write 118 if you do. I'm saying it over and over. Trust in Him at all times. Try it. Say it now. Feel anything? Drop a 119 if you do. This is how I'm standing today. You with me? So Job, he's my guy now. Lost his kids, his stuff, still says, I know my Redeemer lives. Ever clung to hope like that? Write 120 if you have. David's running from Saul, writing Psalms, trusting. Mary's watching Jesus die, trusting. You think trust gets you through the worst? Drop a 121 if you do. I'm seeing it. Psalm 62:8's everywhere. You believe the Bible's got answers? Write 122 if you do. This is pulling me up. Let's keep going. Trust in Him at all times. It's not just for me. It's for you too. Ever felt like giving up? Drop a 123 if you have. I did. Thought Christianity wasn't working. But this verse, it's like, Joe, lean on me. You think God's a rock when you're weak? Write 124 if you do. I'm starting to see He's my refuge. You believe He's yours too? Drop a 125 if you do. Let's dig deeper. So I'm saying it. Trust in Him at all times. When Anna left, when I doubted, when I broke. Ever had to trust when it hurt? Write 126 if you have. It's like a tower, strong, steady. You think God's that for you? Drop a 127 if you do. I'd been running on empty, but this, it's filling me up. You ever felt God fill you back up? Write 128 if you have. This is how I'm standing. How about you? I'm looking at you now. Yeah, you watching this. Trust in Him at all times. It's not just words. It's life. Ever found life in something simple? Drop a 129 if you have. I'd been doubting in the dark, forgetting the light. You ever done that? Write 130 if you have. This verse, it's my flashlight now. You think it could be yours? Drop a 131 if you do. Let's see where it takes us. Stay with me. So Psalm 62 verse 8, it's sticking. Trust in Him at all times. I'm saying it when I wake up, when I crash. Ever had something pull you through? Write 132 if you have. Job's my hero. Lost it all, still trusted. You think we can do that? Drop a 133 if you do. I'm seeing God's bigger than my pain. You believe He's bigger than yours? Write 134 if you do. This is faith coming back. I'd been asking, why God? But now I'm hearing, trust me. Ever had to switch from why to trust? Drop a 135 if you have. Samuel's voice, the letter, the book, they're shouting this verse. You think God's loud when we listen? Write 136 if you do. I'm standing here because of it. Trust. You think trust can hold you up? Drop a 137 if you do. Let's wrap this up. Big finish coming. So here's the deal. Trust in Him at all times. It's not easy, y'all. Ever struggled to trust? Write 138 if you have. I did. 2 days of darkness almost took me out. But these encouragements, they're proof He's here. You believe He's here for you? Drop a 139 if you do. I'm not doubting in the dark anymore. I'm holding the light. You think light beats dark? Write 140 if you do. Let's take it home. Trust in Him at all times. It's my lifeline now. Ever found yours? Drop a 141 if you have. I'm seeing Job, David, Mary, all trusting through hell. You think we're built for that? Write 142 if you do. I'm standing because of this. God's real. He's good. You believe that too? Drop a 143 if you do. Let's finish strong. You ready for the big ask? Here it comes. So I'm here, trusting again. Anna's gone, but she's with Him. Ever lost someone and found peace? Write 144 if you have. Psalm 62 verse 8, it's my rock. You think it could be yours? Drop a 145 if you do. I'm not the same guy who doubted. God pulled me back. You believe He can pull you back? Write 146 if you do. This is where it all leads. Let's talk hope. You with me? Tell me below, what's your story? All right, last stretch. Stay with me. I've got a question for you. What are you trusting in? Your job? Your bank account? Yourself? Ever had those fail you? Drop a 147 if they have. I'm trusting Jesus because he's the only one who lasts. You think anything else holds up? Write 148 if you don't. Job said, I know my Redeemer lives and is with him. You believe that? Drop a 149 if you do. Let's talk eternity. So Job's my guy. I know my Redeemer lives. I'll see Anna again because of Jesus. Ever clung to that hope? Write 150 if you have. I'm standing here because he beat the grave. You believe he did? Drop a 151 if you do. If you don't know Jesus yet, why not? What's stopping you? Write 152 if you've got an answer. I want to hear it. This is the big ask. Stay tuned. Here's the deal. Jesus died. Rose lives. That's my hope. Ever needed hope that big? Drop a 153 if you have. I'm trusting him because nothing else works. You think stuff fails us? Write 154 if you do. Psalm 62 verse 8. Trust in him at all times. It's not just for me. It's for you. You want to try it? Drop a 155 if you do. I'm asking you. Trust him today. What do you say? So here's what I want you to do. Memorize this. Trust in him at all times. Say it now, go ahead. Feel anything? Write 156 if you do. Grab that book. The moon is always round. Links below. It'll wreck you in a good way. Ever had a book change you? Drop a 157 if you have. I'm begging you. Trust Jesus. You ready to say yes? Write 158 if you are. I'll pray for you. If you're on the fence, why? What's holding you back? Write 159 if you've got a reason. Jesus is the only one who beat death. Bank accounts don't. Jobs don't. You believe that? Drop a 160 if you do. I'm here because of him and is with him. You want that hope? Write 161 if you do. This is your shot. Trust him. What's your next step? Tell me below. So I'm standing with my family now. Samuel, Emma, me. We're hurting, but we've got hope. Ever found hope in the mess? Drop a 162 if you have. Psalm 62 verse 8. It's our rock. You think it could be yours? Write 163 if you do. I'm asking you. Trust Jesus today. Drop a 164 if you're in. I'm cheering for you. You believe eternity's real? Write 165 if you do. Let's keep this going. Here's the truth. Life's temporary, but Jesus isn't. Ever thought about what's next? Drop a 166 if you have. I'll see Anna again. Job's right. My Redeemer lives. You believe you'll see someone again? Write 167 if you do. I'm begging you. Trust him. Drop a 168 if you're ready, or 169 if you're still thinking. What's your story? Hit the comments. I'm reading everyone. You with me? Let's finish strong. So I'm here because of Jesus. He's my hope, my rock. Ever found something that lasts? Drop a 170 if you have. Psalm 62 verse 8. Trust in him at all times. It's yours too. You want to hold on to it. Write 171 if you do. I'm asking, say yes to him. Drop a 172 if you're in. You believe he's worth it? Write 173 if you do. Let's wrap this up. You ready? Hit that like button if this hit you. I need to know. Subscribe if you're sticking with me. I'm not going anywhere. Ever found a channel that feels like home? Drop a 174 if this is it. Share this with someone hurting. They need it. You think this could help someone? Write 175 if you do. I'm begging you. Trust Jesus. Drop a 176 if you're saying yes today. What's your next move? Tell me below. So I'm standing here. Anna's with Jesus, and I'm trusting him. Ever felt that peace? Write 177 if you have. Psalm 62 verse 8. It's my lifeline, your lifeline. You want to memorize it? Drop a 178 if you do. Grab that book, links there. You think it's worth it? Write 179 if you do. I'm asking, say yes to him. Drop a 180 if you're in. I'm praying for you. Let's keep this alive. If you're still here, thank you. Ever stuck with something this long? Drop a 181 if you have. I'm here because Jesus pulled me through. He can pull you too. You believe that? Write 182 if you do. Trust him. Say it. Trust in him at all times. Feel it. Drop a 183 if you do. What's your story? Hit the comments. I'm all in. Let's finish this. All right, you're still with me. Awesome. Let's wrap this up strong. I've got Samuel's voice, that letter, this book, 3 lifelines from God. And they all point me to one thing. Trust. Psalm 62 verse 8. Trust in him at all times. I'm saying it over and over, like a heartbeat. Ever had a verse stick to you like glue? Drop a 184 if you have. It's pulling me out of the dark, telling me Anna's safe, and I'm not alone. You think God's got your back too? Write 185 if you do, or 185,185 if you're still wondering. Let's keep going. So here's my question for you. What are you trusting in? Your job? Your bank account? Yourself? I've tried that. It fails. Ever had something let you down hard? Drop a 186 if you have. Me? I'm trusting Jesus. Why? Because like Job said, I know that my Redeemer lives. Anna's with him, and I'll see her again. You got that kind of hope? Write 187 if you do. If not, stick around. I've got something for you. Here's the deal. Jesus beat the grave. That's why I'm still standing. You don't know him yet? Why not? He's the only one who lasts. Drop a 188 if you want to trust him today. I'll pray for you, promise. Say it with me. Trust in him at all times. Feel that? Write 189 if it's hitting you. Hit that like button if this moved you. Subscribe if you're in. I'm not going anywhere. Share this with someone hurting. They need it. Comment your story. I'm reading every one. Let's do this together, y'all. See you next time. Trust him.